Black Hollow Forest. A place of shadows and whispers. Ancient trees clawed at the sky, their branches intertwined in a silent battle for dominance. The air hung heavy with the stench of decay and anticipation. This was not a place for the faint of heart. The forest floor, littered with the bones of the fallen, served as a constant reminder of the brutal struggle for survival. For generations, Ragnar the Lion had ruled Black Hollow. His reign, once marked by strength and wisdom, had descended into a brutal tyranny. The other creatures lived in fear, their whispers echoing through the undergrowth. His roar, once a symbol of power, now echoed like a death knell through the ancient trees. The old lion's grip on power was slipping. His once mighty roar was now a rasping cough. His amber eyes, once blazing with fire, were clouded with age and suspicion. The scent of fear, once alien to him, now clung to his matted mane. The time for a new ruler was coming. The creatures of Black Hollow could feel it in their bones, in the very air they breathed. The question was not if, but when. The forest held its breath, bracing itself for the inevitable chaos. In the heart of the forest lived Fang, the alpha male of the Obsidian Pack. His coat was the color of midnight, his eyes two burning embers in the darkness. He moved with the silent grace of a phantom, his loyalty to his pack absolute. Fang had watched Ragnar's decline with cold, calculating eyes. He smelled weakness in the old lion, an opportunity for his pack to claim dominance over the forest. Deep within the tangled undergrowth lurked Brutus, a hulking monstrosity of a bear. His thick, scarred hide spoke of countless battles fought and won. He was a solitary creature, driven by an insatiable hunger and a fierce desire for territory. Brutus cared little for who ruled Black Hollow, as long as they did not impede his pursuit of food and solitude. Then there was Shade, a creature of myth and legend. The black tiger was an enigma, rarely seen, never predictable. His stripes were the shadows of the forest, his eyes two pools of molten gold. He moved with a quiet confidence that spoke of deadly power held in reserve. Shade was an outsider, a rogue who had arrived in Black Hollow seeking something more than just survival. He sought to rule. The air crackled with tension. The forest floor, damp with dew, became a silent battleground. Ragnar, his mane bristling with defiance, met Fang's cold stare with a low growl. The two alpha predators circled each other, their primal instincts taking over. The fight, when it came, was swift and brutal. Fang's pack, a blur of teeth and fur, swarmed Ragnar. He fought back with the ferocity of a cornered lion, his claws leaving bloody trails on his attackers. But age and the relentless assault were taking their toll. Wounded and weary, Ragnar stumbled. Before Fang could deliver the final blow, a thunderous roar shook the forest. Brutus emerged from the undergrowth, scattering the pack with a swipe of his massive paw. He stood over the fallen lion, his hot breath steaming in the cold air. Ragnar, his eyes filled with defeat, could only wait for the end. Suddenly, a low growl resonated in the air. A pair of golden eyes pierced the gloom as Shade emerged from the shadows. He moved with an eerie silence, circling the standoff like a phantom. Brutus, distracted by this new threat, turned away from Ragnar. Shade's attack was swift and unexpected. He moved like a wraith, his black fur blending with the shadows. His claws, like honed ebony daggers, raked Brutus's thick hide, drawing blood with each swipe. The bear roared in pain and fury, but Shade was too quick, too agile. Fang, watching from the sidelines, saw an opportunity. He rallied his pack, their eyes gleaming with bloodlust. Together they launched a coordinated assault on Brutus, their snapping jaws tearing at his flanks. The bear, overwhelmed and outnumbered, fell to the ground with a deafening crash. Fang, sensing victory, turned his attention to Shade. The two circled each other, their eyes locked in a deadly dance of dominance. But before their fight could begin, Shade let out a chilling roar, a sound that echoed through the forest, silencing all who heard it. It was a roar that spoke of power beyond measure, of a darkness that chilled the very soul. Fang hesitated, his pack cowering behind him. Shade had won, not through brute force, but through sheer primal terror. He was the embodiment of the forest's darkest heart, and in that moment, he claimed his throne. News of Shade's victory spread through Black Hollow like wildfire. The other creatures, sensing a shift in power, bowed their heads in submission. A hush fell over the forest. The reign of terror was over. The reign of Shade had begun. The black tiger, perched atop a moss-covered boulder, surveyed his domain. His golden eyes, cold and calculating, missed nothing. He had claimed Black Hollow, but he knew that maintaining control would be a constant battle. One crisp morning, a new scent wafted through the forest. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but it was enough to stir Shade's instincts. It was the scent of a predator, one he had never encountered before. Intrigued and wary, Shade followed the scent. He found her at the edge of his territory, near the Whispering Falls. She was a panther, her coat the colour of midnight, sprinkled with stars. Her eyes, like twin emeralds, held a wisdom that belied her age. This was no ordinary creature. This was Nyx. Nyx's arrival sent a ripple of unease through Black Hollow. She was an unknown entity, a wild card in Shade's carefully constructed game of power. The whispers started, carried on the wind through the trees. Who was this newcomer and what did she want? Some whispered that she was a harbinger of change, a force that would upset the delicate balance of power that Shade had established. Others claimed that she was a rival queen, come to challenge Shade's claim to the throne. The forest held its breath, waiting to see what would unfold. Shade, ever the pragmatist, chose to observe. He watched Nyx from the shadows, studying her movements, her habits, her strengths and her weaknesses. He sensed a power within her, a quiet intelligence that both intrigued and intimidated him. He knew that he could not underestimate her. One cool evening, as the sun began its final descent, their paths crossed. It was not a chance encounter. Both had been circling each other for days, each waiting for the right moment to make a move. The air crackled with tension, the forest holding its breath. The clearing where they met was bathed in the golden light of the setting sun. The air was still, the only sound the gentle rustling of leaves in the breeze. Shade and Nyx circled each other, their eyes locked in a silent battle of wills. "You are bold to trespass on my territory," Shade growled, his voice a low rumble that echoed through the clearing. Nyx met his gaze without flinching. "This forest belongs to no one," she replied, her voice as smooth as silk, as sharp as a blade. "We are all merely passing through." "And yet, here you stand," Shade countered, his eyes narrowing, "at the edge of my domain." "I go where I please," Nyx stated, her tone leaving no room for argument. "I am not afraid of you, Shade." A tense silence descended upon the clearing. The air crackled with anticipation, the forest holding its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Both Shade and Nyx were formidable predators, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. Shade was larger and stronger, his dark fur blending with the shadows, giving him an element of surprise. But Nyx was faster, more agile, her sleek black coat dotted with stars, making her difficult to track in the dappled light of the forest. The outcome of their confrontation was far from certain. As the last rays of sunlight faded from the sky, plunging the clearing into shadow, a low growl rumbled in Shade's chest. His eyes, now two glowing embers in the darkness, fixed on Nyx. The battle for Black Hollow was about to begin. The reign of Shade had been challenged, and the forest would once again be stained with the blood of its fallen. The creatures of Black Hollow retreated deeper into the shadows, their eyes wide with fear and anticipation. They knew that this was only the beginning, the first act in a drama that would determine the fate of their world. The reign of shadows had just begun.